Hi everybody, it's me and Yaya, also known as Yaya, and I'm back. Yesterday I read with you chapters 18 through 21, so today I'm starting with chapter 22 in Exodus. And once again, I'm reading from the Amplified version of the Bible because I feel like the intent and meaning of the word is just so much clearer in that version. Okay, so Exodus 22, property rights. If a man steals an ox or sheep and kills or sells it, he shall make restitution of 5 oxen for an ox or 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief is caught breaking in after dark and is struck by the owner so that he dies, there should be no blood guilt for him. But if the sun has risen, there will be blood guilt for him. The thief, if he lives, must make full restitution. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold as a slave to make restitution for his theft. If the animal that he stole is found alive in his possession, whether it is an ox or a donkey or sheep, he shall pay double for it. If a man causes a field or vineyard to be grazed bare, or lets his livestock loose so that it grazes in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that the stacked grain or standing grain or the field is consumed, he who started the fire shall make full restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or other goods to keep for him while he is away, and it is stolen from the neighbor's house, then if the thief is caught, he shall pay double for it. If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall appear before the judges who act in God's name to determine whether or not he has stolen his neighbor's goods. For every offense involving property, whether it concerns ox, donkey, sheep, clothing, or any piece of lost property which another identifies as his, the case of both parties shall come before the judges who act in God's name. Whomever the judges pronounce guilty shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man gives his neighbor a donkey or an ox or a sheep or any other animal to keep for him, and it dies or is injured or taken away while no one is looking, then an oath before the Lord shall be made by the two of them that he has not taken his neighbor's property, and the owner of it shall accept his word and not require him to make restitution. But if it is actually stolen from him when in his care, he shall make restitution to its owner. If it is torn to pieces by some predator or by accident, let him bring the mangled carcass as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what was torn to pieces. Live long and prosper. Right, amen. Okay. And if a man borrows an animal from his neighbor, and it gets injured or dies while its owner is not with it, the borrower shall make full restitution. But if the owner is with it when the damage is done, the borrower shall not make restitution. If it was hired, the damage is included in the price of its fee. Various laws. If a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he must pay a dowry or marriage price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he must still pay money equivalent to the dowry of virgins. You shall not allow a woman who practices sorcery to live. Whoever lies with an animal must be put to death. He who sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be put under a ban designated for destruction or execution. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not harm or oppress any widow or fatherless child. If you harm or oppress them in any way, and they cry out at all to me for help, I will most certainly hear their cry, and my wrath shall be kindled and burned. I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any one of my people who is poor, you shall not act as a creditor, professional moneylender to him. You shall not charge him interest. If you ever take your poor neighbor's robe in pledge, you must return it to him before sunset, for that is his only covering. It is his clothing for his body. In what shall he sleep? And when he cries to me for help, I will hear him, for I am compassionate and gracious. You shall not curse God, nor curse the ruler of your people, since he administers God's law. You shall not delay the offering from your harvest and your vintage. You shall give or consecrate or dedicate to me the firstborn of your sons. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. It shall be with its mother for 7 days. On the 8th day you shall give it to me as an offering. Give it as an offering to me. You shall be holy men to me. Therefore you shall not eat meat from any animal that has been torn to pieces by predators in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. Okay. Okay, so there's a footnote down here about 2231. Oh, okay. It's talking about how they're, you shall be holy men to me, telling the Israelites they're holy people, and therefore they shall not eat meat from any animal that is torn to pieces by predators. You shall throw it to the dogs. So it says here, the commandments given to Israel by the Lord were designed in part to separate them from the world and identify them as his chosen people. Okay, Exodus 23, various laws. You shall not give a false report. You shall not join hands with the wicked to be a malicious witness, promoting wrong and violence. You shall not follow a crowd to do something evil, nor shall you testify at a trial or in a dispute so as to side with a crowd in order to pervert justice. Nor shall you favor or be partial to a poor man in his dispute, simply because he is poor. Sorry. Hey, sorry about that. It was just one of those scam calls. Okay. You shall not follow a crowd to do something evil, nor shall you testify at a trial or in a dispute so as to side with a crowd in order to pervert justice, nor shall you favor or be partial to a poor man in his dispute, simply because he is poor. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey wandering off, you must bring it back to him. If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying helpless under its load, you shall not leave the man to deal with it alone. You must help him release the animal from its burden. You shall not pervert or bend the justice due to your poor in his dispute. Keep far away from a false charge or action, and do not condemn to death the innocent or the righteous, for I will not justify and acquit the guilty. You shall not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the testimony and the cause of righteousness. You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the soul, the feelings, the thoughts, and concerns of a stranger, for you were strangers in Egypt. The Sabbath and land. You shall sow your land 6 years and harvest its yield, but the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie uncultivated, so that the poor among your people may eat what the land grows naturally. Whatever they leave, the animals of the field may eat. You shall do the same with your vineyard and olive grove. 6 days each week you shall do your work, but on the 7th day you shall stop working, so that your ox and your donkey may settle down and rest, and the son of your female servant, as well as your stranger, may be refreshed. Now concerning everything which I have said to you, be on your guard. Do not mention the name of other gods, either in a blessing or in a curse. Do not let such speech be heard coming from your mouth. Okay. 3 national feasts. 3 times a year you shall celebrate a feast dedicated to me. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in it you came out of Egypt. No one shall appear before me empty-handed, but you shall bring sacrificial offerings. Also you shall observe the feast of harvest, weeks, Pentecost, or first fruits, acknowledging the first fruits of your labor, of what you sow in the field. And third, the feast of ingathering, booths or tabernacles. At the end of the year, when you gather in the fruit of your labors from the field, 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before the Lord God. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, and the fat of my feast is not to be left overnight until morning. You shall bring the choice fruits of your ground into the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Conquest of land. Behold, I am going to send an angel before you to keep and guard you on the way and to bring you to the place I have prepared. Be on your guard before him. Listen and obey his voice. Do not be rebellious toward him or provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgression, since my name authority is in him. But if you will indeed listen and truly obey his voice and do everything that I say, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. When my angel goes before you and brings you to the land of the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, I will reject them and completely destroy them. You shall not bow down to worship their gods, nor serve them, nor do anything in accordance with their practices. You shall completely overthrow them and break their sacred pillars and images of pagan worship. Hold on. Okay. Okay. You shall serve only the Lord your God, and he shall bless your bread and water. I will also remove sickness from among you. No one shall suffer miscarriage or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. I will send my terror ahead of you, and I will throw into confusion all the people among whom you come, and I will make all your enemies to turn their backs to you in flight. I will send hornets ahead of you, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite before you. I will not drive them out before you in a single year, so that the land does not become desolate due to lack of attention, and the wild animals of the field do not become too numerous for you. I will drive them out before you little by little until you have increased and are strong enough to take possession of the land. I will establish your borders from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines, or the Mediterranean, and from the wilderness to the river Euphrates. For I will hand over the residents of the land to you, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall not make a covenant with them or with their gods. They shall not live in your land, because they will make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it is certain to be a trap for you, resulting in judgment. Okay, so I'm down here in the footnotes. Okay, so 23:19. Okay, so it says here, you shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Okay. So it says, this may have been a pagan practice, perhaps a fertility rite. Okay, wow. So you heard when I was talking about that God was going to send an angel ahead of them and they have to listen to that angel. And I'm thinking, really? So they're going to have an angel ahead of them. This angel is going to be talking to them and they should listen. Okay, that just kind of went, right over my head, because I know I've read through the Bible before. I don't remember reading. I've never heard anyone preach on it. This is what it's saying. So it says down here, angel has been capitalized here to reflect the likelihood that it is God appearing in a visible form. Okay. Okay, and then let's see, 26. It says, I will fulfill the number of your days. And that means down here, grant you long life. Okay. Okay, chapter 24. People affirmed their covenant with God. Then God said to Moses, come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Aaron's older sons, and 70 of Israel's elders, and you shall worship at a safe distance. Moses alone shall approach the Lord, but the others shall not come near, nor shall the people come up with him. Then Moses came and told the people everything that the Lord had said and all the ordinances, and all the people answered with one voice, everything the Lord has said we will do." Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. Then he got up early in the morning and built an altar for worship at the foot of the mountain with 12 pillars or memorial stones, representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent young Israelite men, and they offered burnt offerings and sacrificed young bulls as peace offerings to the Lord. Moses took half of the blood and put it in large basins, and the other half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it aloud to the people, and they said, "Everything that the Lord has said we will do, and we will be obedient." So Moses took the blood which had been placed in the large basins and sprinkled it on the people, and said, "Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you is in accordance with all these words." Then Moses, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel went up the mountainside, and they saw a manifestation of the God of Israel, and under his feet there appeared to be a pavement of sapphire, just as clear as the sky itself. Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the nobles of the Israelites, and they saw the manifestation of the presence of God and ate and drank. Wow, to be in that number. Wow. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and stay there, and I will give you the stone tablets with the law and the commandments which I have written for their instruction." So Moses arose with Joshua his attendant, and he went up to the mountain of God. And he said to the elders, "Wait here for us until we come back to you. Remember that Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a legal matter, let him go to them." Then Moses went up to the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. The glory and brilliance of the Lord rested on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. On the 7th day, God called to Moses from the midst of the cloud. In the sight of the Israelites, the appearance of the glory and brilliance of the Lord was like consuming fire on top of the mountain. Moses entered the midst of the cloud and went up the mountain, and he was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. Okay. Let's see, 13. It says, so Moses arose with Joshua his attendant, and he went up to the mountain of God. And down here it says, the verb to stand or rise is an instruction to prepare to fulfill a command, somewhat similar to the military command, attention. Okay, chapter 25, offerings for the sanctuary. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Tell the children of Israel to take an offering for me. From every man whose heart moves him to give willingly, you shall take my offering. This is the offering you are to receive from them: gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet fabric, fine twisted linens, goat's hair, ram's skins dyed red, porpoise skins, acacia wood, olive oil for lighting, balsam for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense, onyx stones and setting stones for the priest's ephod and for the breastpiece. Have them build a sanctuary for me, so that I may dwell among them. You shall construct it in accordance with everything that I am going to show you, as the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of its furniture." Ark of the Covenant. I don't know if you remember the movie Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark, right? So yeah. Okay. "They shall make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high." So let me go down here to the footnotes, F. Okay. So it says here, ancient measurements like the cubit were intended to be practical in that they usually were equivalent to something that was handy and readily available. The cubit was the distance from the elbow to the outstretched fingers. Okay. Elbow to outstretched fingers. But I guess on a man. Okay. And the hand width, as its name applies, the width of the 4 fingers, and it was this wide, but a man's hand, I'm sure. This was a special. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so let me go back up. Okay, Okay, so you shall overlay the ark with pure gold, overlay it inside and out, and you shall make a gold border or frame around its top. You shall cast 4 gold rings for it and attach them to the 4 feet, 2 rings on either side. You shall make carrying poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold, and put the poles through the rings on the sides of the ark by which to carry it. The poles shall remain in the rings of the ark, they shall not be removed from it, so that the ark itself need not be touched. You shall put into the ark the testimony or 10 commandments which I will give you. You shall make a mercy seat, cover of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits wide. Okay, let me go down here. 17. Okay, so when it talks about a mercy seat, this was a special cover serving as the place of atonement for sin, where the high priest would sprinkle the blood of the sacrifice to reconcile the Israelites to God. Okay, so that's what a mercy seat is. I never knew, although I've heard it before. Mercy seat. Okay, you shall make 2 cherubim, winged angelic figures of solid hammered gold at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Make 1 cherub at each end, making the cherubim of one piece with the mercy seat at its 2 ends. The cherubim shall have their wings spread upward, covering the mercy seat with their wings and facing each other. The faces of the cherubim are to be looking downward toward the mercy seat. You shall put the mercy seat on the top of the ark, and in the ark you shall put the testimony which I will give you. There I will meet you from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim which are on the ark of the testimony. I will speak intimately with you regarding every commandment that I will give you for the Israelites. The table of bread. You shall make a table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, 1 cubit wide, and 1.5 cubits high. You shall overlay it with pure gold, making a border of gold around the top of it. You shall make a rim of a hand with around it. You shall make a gold border for the rim around it. You shall make 4 gold rings for it and fasten them at the 4 corners that are on the table's 4 legs. The rings shall be close against the rim as borders for the poles to carry the table. You shall make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold, so that the table may be carried with them. You shall make its plates for the showbread, and its cups for incense, and its pitchers and bowls for sacrificial drink offerings. You shall make them of pure gold. You shall set the bread of the present showbread on the table before me at all times. The golden lampstand. You shall make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand and its base and its shaft shall be made of hammered work. Its cups, its calyxes, and its flowers shall be all of one piece with it. Calyxes. That's J. Calyxes, J. Okay. A calyx, a leaf-like outer part of the flower. Leaf-like outer part of the flower. Okay. Okay. 6 branches shall come out of its sides. 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side, the shaft being the 7th branch. 3 cups shall be made like almond blossoms, each with a calyx and a flower on one branch, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms on the other branch, with a calyx and a flower. So for the 6 branches coming out of the lampstand and the center shaft of the lampstand, you shall make 4 cups shaped like almond blossoms, with their calyxes and their flowers. A calyx shall be under the first pair of branches coming out of it, and a calyx under the second pair of branches coming out of it, and a calyx under the third pair of branches coming out of it, for the 6 branches coming out of the lampstand. Their calyxes and their branches shall be of one piece with it. All of it shall be one piece of hammered work of gold. Then you shall make the lamps of the lampstand, 7 in number, with 1 lamp at the top of the shaft. The priest shall set up its 7 lamps so that they will light the space in front of it. Its snuffers and their trays shall be of pure gold. It shall be from a talent, or which is 50 to 80 pounds of pure gold, including all these utensils. See that you make them exactly after their pattern, which was shown to you on the mountain. Okay, so I'm down here in the footnotes. Okay, 25:5. So, God talking about designing the temple, and he says something about what all he wants the people to donate to the building of the temple, and says ram skins dyed red. That's one of the things he wants the people to give, and it says here the occasion. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the finished product would be similar to Morocco leather. Okay, if you know what that is, Morocco leather. Um, and it says the meaning of the Hebrew word is not certain. Some scholars have suggested that the material is instead a fine leather of unspecified origin. It says the acacia tree grows wild in the Sinai region. The organic compounds in its wood, which is harder than oak, repel insects and grazing animals. Okay. Because I've heard of acacia wood, let's see, D 25:6. It says some of the stuff he wants them to give: olive oil for lighting, and acacia wood and olive oil. What's this say? Various pleasantly scented plant products. Okay. 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 25:31. You shall make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand and its base and its shaft shall be made of hammered work. It's and it says down here, I guess the Hebrew word for lampstand is menorah. Oh wow. Okay. Okay, 25:37. Okay. Then it says that then you shall make the lamps of the lampstand, 7 in number, with one lamp at the top of the shaft. The priest shall set up its 7 lamps so that they will light the space in front of it. Okay. So down here in the footnotes it says the first objective evidence of the sevenfold lamp was found during an excavation at Tel Bet Mersin, south of Jerusalem, where 7 armed lamps dated about 1200 BC were found. The 7th season at the Dothan excavation uncovered 3 sevenfold lamps from the period of 1400 to 1200 BC. Wow, it's so nice when, and I've said this before, it's so nice when science and just religion just kind of meet up and you have evidence of these things. It's pretty awesome. Wow, I mean, what God was telling with, what God was designing and communicating to Moses that he wanted to design for the temple, it sounds so beautiful. You've got these beautiful gemstones, and you've got just everything just inlaid with gold, and angels with the wings, and they're looking down at the ark, and just it sounds inspiring. you know I look at certain churches, in some of them, or just different places of worship, because they're not always churches, and just the way that they design them so that they inspire you, which is a good thing. you know I mean, I've belonged to a storefront church in the past, and I like storefront churches, because it's very real. It's not a whole lot of, not as much maybe politicking, and just you get the vibe of people who are just more genuine and just really want to be there for God, you know. So I like storefront churches as well. But it's nice to be in a church where it's beautifully designed, and it puts you in a nice peaceful mindset, you know. So anyhow, and I say too much maybe. But anyhow, I've been going on for about a half hour. And so that was chapters what did I read just now? I read chapters what was it, 19 through 25? Is that what I just read? I think I read 19 through 25, I think. Yeah. So anyhow, so thank you so much for watching, and may God bless you. I love you. Thank you. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and follow and all that good stuff. God bless you. Hi, sorry, I said I just read through chapters 19 through 25. Sorry, I just read through chapters 22 through 25. Sorry about that. I was just playing back the video and I realized what I did. Okay, God bless you. And I look forward to you being in my Bible study tomorrow.